Welcome back to The Art of Hobbiness. I'm Erin, joined by my lovely co-host Tam.
Yes!
So excited to be back. We're going to be talking about one of Tam's hobbies today.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really excited to hear about this, and I hear you've been dabbling into some mushroom hunting.
Yes!
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, what piqued your interest to even start that hobby?
Oh my God. Okay. Well, so first of all, let me tell you how I even discovered Morels even exist.
Yeah.
It was back in college. I was shadowing this primary care provider for a couple weeks, and it was in the springtime, and there was like 2 days where like 90% of his patients kept coming in with ankle injuries. And their history of the injury that they would tell them would be like, well, I was morel hunting.
Oh, really?
Did this. Yes. So I finally, after like, I don't know, the 12th patient, I was like, what kind of animal is out there taking out these people's ankles?
That's hilarious.
And he's, no, not an animal. It's a mushroom. What? It's like, people are getting so hurt for a mushroom. And he's like, just wait.
Oh,
I'll have my wife fry some up. I'll bring them tomorrow. So brings them, I devour them.
Yeah.
They're phenomenal. Yeah. Okay. And so for anybody who doesn't know what a morel mushroom is it's, because I didn't, I thought it was an animal, is it varies in size. It can come anywhere from like, I don't know, like an inch to like the size of a water bottle. Yeah. But it's on a stick that has like almost like a sponge like cone kind of shape on top of it, right? And it's a delicacy in this area.
And we live in the Midwest, so it's a pretty hot thing around here. Yes. Right? In the spring, this time of year.
Yes, yes, definitely in the spring. It's very seasonal. Yeah. And if you fry them up, I mean, you really can cook them anyway, and they taste amazing. But my personally favorite way to eat them is fried up. Yeah. I just can't.
Like breaded or just in butter?
Yeah, breaded, fry them, put a little salt on them, and it's just so good. I devour them.
Yum.
So anyway, ever since I learned about it then, I've always been like, I gotta get out there and figure out what people are willing to
and what better reason to start doing it with
right? So here we are, fast forward to a hobby podcast. I was like, this is my time, I'm doing it. Yeah. So actually, your husband is somebody who's quite experienced in morel hunting.
Yes. In mushroom, yes.
And, I guess generally in mushroom hunting.
He loves it.
Remember the time that our husband sat and watched a Netflix episode about mushroom hunting while we were on vacation, and we were like, can we go do something?
Yes, I do.
Side note, I digress. Anyway, so I reached out to Adam and I was just like, hey, I think this is the year. I'm going to try any pro tips. And he was great. He was like, carry a mesh bag. Because you want to put the mushrooms in a mesh bag so that the spores kind of spread around, which creates more for next year. A little knife so that you can kind of cut them. You don't want to pull them out of the ground. You just want to cut them. And then enjoy. He's like, just explore. He's like, but be prepared. There's going to be a lot of times you go hunting and you don't find anything. Right. Which he's so right.
Yeah. So tell me I would like to hear your first experience going out. Did you find any right away?
Yeah.
Okay. And then when you did you find some eventually?
I did. Okay. Yes.
So tell us about both, those things.
Yeah. So I think, I think a lot of my not finding is for a couple of reasons. One being that, I mean, there's a reason why there's such an adventure, right? It's because you don't strike gold every time. Two, the conditions do kind of have to be right.
Did you discover what the right did you look into what the right conditions are?
It seems like it's got to be obviously in the spring. It's got to be where it's kind of cooler and rainy in the morning, and then when the sun pops out in the afternoon. That seems to be the most your best time to look for them. Which is very hard to time nature around your personal schedule. Yes. So it's not that you won't find them during those times. You just have the best chance at finding them during those times.
And don't they grow pretty quickly, right?
Yeah. Now, I have only been told how quickly they grow. I haven't actually witnessed it myself, but I have been told by some people who are experiencing it that they picked some in the morning, gone home, worked around their house for the day, and gone out in the or like in the evening-ish, and there they were again.
Incredible.
But that's only if you take good care of how you remove them, right? Like if you just rip them out from the root, like you're not going to get them back again. So there's like a talent to foraging for them. So first time went and looked, I did not find anything anywhere. Again, it could have just been the fact that I just had no idea what I was looking for, because they kind of come in different colors too.
They're kind of hard to spot.
They are
very camouflaged, right?
They're very camouflaged. They typically, I've been told that you find them near was it south side facing hills? You find them near dead branches.
I think specifically oak trees.
I think
don't know
you're
if
right.
That's that type of mushroom.
I think you might be right on that
but
one.
Yeah, there's specific trees that they like to be by.
And so, I think I just I didn't know what questions to ask those who were professionals in it. So it took a couple of trial and error of me going out and trying and then coming back to my sources and being like, this is kind of what I saw. Would this be some sort of areas? And then them being like, oh yeah, you can look in those areas. But you have to be careful asking people who hunt for morels because there's such a delicacy and a treasure hunt that they won't tell you where their spots are they look because that's their spot. So I have to ask questions in general and they answer in general because they don't want to be like, go to this spot right here because that's where you're going to find them all because that's where they want theirs. That's their stash. Yeah.
So where did you end up finally finding some? I know you not want to tell me where, but like,
what
was the situation? What was the situation?
You're not going to need a secret, Taryn. So my first time finding some, I actually, I have a friend who lives kind of more in southern Illinois that has a lot of wooded property. And I convinced them to let me go out to their house for the day. And I brought my girls because I love to do my hobbies with my girls. And I brought Pat with me and they went with me. They brought their daughter and we were, just in the thick of woods, which prior to that, my adventures of going and looking for mushrooms, I think I stayed more towards the edge of the wooded areas or more heavily trafficked areas. So that could have also been another reason why I wasn't finding things because it was, if I was people were there. These were heavily trafficked areas. So it was fun to be like deep and thick in the woods. It kind of made me feel like a kid again. It reminded me of being like when I was a kid, my grandma used to live on a property that had some woods that butted up to it. And I remember my brothers and cousins and I used to try to like purposefully get lost in the woods so that we could have like the challenge of trying to find our way back and who is the best wayfinder. So it felt like that, like, you're just like hacking at like weeds and looking for creek beds because you're trying to look for moisture because that kind of helps with mushroom growing. And when we finally found some, we only found 2. We only found 2 out of hours.
Wow.
Hours.
Yeah.
I would say we were probably out there for 3-ish hours.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
We only found 2, but they were these tiny little things. And they were so dark, they almost matched the wood of the tree. And actually, I didn't even find them. My friend found them. And it wasn't until she showed me how she like spotted them. It was almost like you had to see it for yourself to actually know how to look for them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yes, I've had that experience.
I think I wonder if there were times in the previous times if I was looking and just didn't find it just because I truly just didn't know how to look. But you kind of got to dig a little bit. Yeah. You got to take a little walking stick with you and poke around and stuff. But once we found them, it was so awesome. I was so excited. I was like, oh my God! It really is like finding gold.
Yes.
So I enjoy
Did you end up taking those couple and cooking?
I did. They were so nice to me. They were like, you can have these too. And I was like, well, shouldn't it be like 50%? Like, you get profit of
right.
Here's one, here's my one. They're like, we're fine.
Yeah.
But it was great because then, we brought him home. And I think Pat is like in on mushroom hunting now. Like, he thought it was such a good time. The girls were so excited that we found something. I really honestly think they would have been so upset if we didn't produce anything on this one trip.
Such a great way to just get outside too and have a common goal.
It is.
It makes it more exciting.
I found, have you mushroom hunted at all with Adam?
Yeah.
You do?
I've been quite a few times with him.
Do you find that when you're out there looking that like you really can't focus or think about anything else? Like you have to be zoned in on exploring. I don't think I realized, like initially, especially in the one trip in which we did find some, and I was with my friend, I felt like I spent a good portion of the time just gossiping with her and talking. And looking back, I wonder how many we just walked right past. Right. or maybe even stepped on.
Yeah, I think you have to have some focus.
You really do. Like I felt like when we did finally find something, it was because we were kind of tired because we'd been out there for hours. We kind of, gossiped everything that we wanted to gossip out of us, right? And we were just kind of just walking around, just like slapping at all the wood things around us. And that's when we found something. So I tried to be more like that in my following trips, which I did end up finding more morels in those trips. Yeah. And it's kind of nice to have something that you're just like so zoned in on and so locked in on, but also being in nature for it. It was really nice. Yeah. I enjoyed that.
It's very like, you have to be very present. And,
very present. Very, very present. But I'll tell you what I don't like.
What?
And that's ticks.
Oh, yeah.
I will say that.
Did you guys end up getting some?
We got so many.
Oh,
and like,
really? I hate those too. They're so gross.
Prior to this spring, I think I could probably tell you I've had like 2 ticks on me my whole life. After this spring session, I've had a lifetime's worth. I honestly, need, I think just the idea of getting a tick is enough to prevent me from probably not doing this.
Really? Oh, I think if you wear cover your body and wear bug spray, it helps.
It does help.
Yeah, and keep your hair pulled back.
Yes, that is very helpful.
But I know
it's not a foolproof, but it's helpful.
Yes.
So ticks were not mine.
Oh, yeah, they're gross. Those are probably the grossest insects in my opinion.
Yes. Yeah. Enough to make me be like, morel hunting's great. Love that for people. Is it for me every year? Probably not.
Yeah. And I think there's certain times of year when the ticks aren't as bad, so you just have to, because there's other seasons of mushrooms. I don't know if you're aware of that.
No.
And have you looked at other, have you done any other mushroom hunting?
No.
For anything else?
Well, let me take that back. So my friend that I did go mushroom hunting with, her husband actually is pretty knowledgeable of other mushroom species out there, and he's been sending me pictures of other ones that he's finding on his property that are edible. Yeah. That is piquing my interest, especially if it would be in seasons that aren't heavily oriented.
Because I know oyster mushrooms are coming up, and those are like white, and so they're easier to see, and they usually grow on trees, kind of like they're still easier to find.
Are they really?
And they're really good.
Are they?
And then there's, I think it's chicken of the woods. They're these like meaty. I know it's weird.
I love it. Yeah.
There's 2 different ones. There's chicken of the woods and hen of the woods. I think those are 2 different ones.
I didn't realize you knew so much about mushrooms.
I mean, I just from Adam.
And that Netflix documentary.
Yes. So, but those are the other ones. Those are really good because you slice. They're like really like dense meaty mushrooms, and you can like slice them and fry them and cook them like that, and they taste more like. They really do taste kind of more like protein. Like
do they?
Yeah. So they're different.
I will say the other thing that I always harp on like how I really like gateway hobbies. I feel like mushroom hunting is a good gateway hobby because you learn to forage, right, for like your own food, which I feel like kind of did get me thinking about like, wouldn't it be really nice if maybe I just really embrace like the home food gardening, right? Get some of that going in my own backyard, so then I don't have to do the ticks, but I still get to forage-ish, right? But then also, I think in total we have found the most that we've found at any given time is probably like 5. Okay. So not enough to fry like I want, right? But we've been able to put them in like pasta dishes. And so that's got me being like, well, if I've done all the work to find it, why not try and explore cooking it myself? So it's
gateway into cooking.
It's kind of a gateway into cooking a little bit. So it was a really great experience to kind of finally see that it's not an animal. It's a mushroom. And then also kind of be like, maybe I want to do something a little bit more with my yard with this, or even kind of be more in the kitchen with it. So I can see it being a gateway hobby to somebody who is interested in trying to explore options of food hobby. Yeah.
Do you think that you will go into any of those hobbies next?
Yeah, I do.
Some of those?
I do. I think I really want to. We were in our yard trying to clean up, for spring, get everything cleaned up from the winter and get it more spring ready. And I was like, this would be a good spot here. I can maybe put some tomatoes. And I was like, what kind of like, I found where we dumped our pumpkins. Yeah. Halloween.
You might get some
I wonder if I'll get some pumpkins.
You might.
How can I help? Did you really? You just dump them in the backyard and screw it? No way.
Yeah. We put some pumpkins along the fence, and they all we had several grow.
No way.
Yeah, it was. They're kind of unruly though, because they get those big pumpkin vines, and but that's all right. The boys loved it.
Did they?
Because it is like a. because they're like hidden in the vine, so it's like a little treasure hunt for
Oh
that
my
too.
God. Okay,
Yeah.
well then there you go. Then that's what I'm gonna do. Is I'm gonna try to figure out a way to like leave that pumpkin debris and see if we can get some pumpkins. Because that'd be great.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. So it sounds like a really positive experience
It
doing the
was.
mushroom hunting.
Yeah, I mean it was great. Like I said, the ticks probably are gonna hold me back from being like, this is what I'm gonna do every season.
Right.
But it was really great to kind of get out there this time and actually find some and see what it was like. And I can easily see why this is such an it's a because it's seasonal. I think it gives you something to look forward to in the spring. So
sure.
I can see how somebody would look forward to it because it's almost like a holiday.
Yeah, coming out of winter and getting outside and finding the first morel.
Absolutely.
That's special. Yeah,
absolutely.
That's awesome. Well, thanks for sharing that with us.
Of course.
I'm glad you had a good experience.
I did.
Yeah.
Go find a mushroom.
All right. Well. Hope you enjoyed this topic about mushroom hunting with Tam, and we hope you join us next time.
Yes, bye.
Bye.